Chapter 11. 15 million yuan order. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Business contract signed. Though he did not receive a down payment, it was totally within Yi Qing's expectations. The contract specifically stated that as soon as a batch is inspected, then they are to be paid for along with the down payment for the next batch of 50,000 pieces. Furthermore, starting from next Monday, 250,000 pieces of carved curbstones must be delivered in 2 months' time. This is the first time the two sides has worked together, plus Yi Qing's unimaginable product and quote, the directors naturally needed to proceed with caution. However, 60 yuan for a work of art curbstone, even if they just buy one, they are still making a killing. Looking at the expression the chief of the city construction office has, if Yi Qing is able to produce 100 pieces of curbstones, then he will come up with ways to have them surround the office building. The city construction office need 250,000 pieces of curbstones. If the price is set too high, then there is no way they are able to produce that much money from their available budget. As long as the city construction office place in these carved curbstones, then the quality of the product will be displayed. By then would he still have to worry about the price? For 250,000 pieces of curbstones, it totaled to 15 million. Shaving off the needed manufacturing costs, Yi Qing can still make at least 4 million. This kind of huge earning, if Yi Qing doesn't have the monster factory, then he can forget about earning this much in his lifetime. 250,000 pieces of curbstones, Yi Qing of course has the confidence to complete them, but the time given to him isn't enough. He must contact and cooperate with a masonry that has both power and the materials to supply him. Zhongyun only has Jiangshan masonry nearby that has this ability. Usually, if it was anyone else, then their first natural choice would be them. Because if the supplier is from the local area, then there is the saving of hundreds of thousands of transportation fees. If Sang Qing knelt and begged Yi Qing. Yi Qing isn't a cold-hearted person, so seeing his sincere sincerity, he might actually give in and order some from him, just to be caring. While on the way back to the factory, Yi Qing received a call from Director Zhang Jianyu of the Construction Planning Department. He is Yi Qing's dad's classmate, and he also has a close relationship with Yi Qing. It's just that this director title has a vice in front of it, so his words don't really carry any power. Even Sang Qing doesn't care about him. At the meeting room, it was mainly for directors and chiefs. There were only a few vice directors present. Now the information must have already spread out. The stone slab Yi Qing brought with him must have also been closely scrutinized by them. Zhang Jianyu just found out that this masterpiece is from Clear Sky Mechanical Saw Factory. In the call, Zhang Jianyu harshly complained why Yi Qing didn't look for him first. Uncle Zhang, I have some news that I really don't want to tell you. It's just that Jiangshan Masonry cancelled those machine orders. Yi Qing embarrassingly explained. Jiangshan Masonry's order comes from the Municipal Engineering Department. Han Yuping works there as a civil servant. He said that his boss is quite familiar with Sang Qing privately and that he is the one in charge with getting the deal signed. I approached him instead of you is because I really want to screw him over on this. What, seriously? Sang Qing, you asshole. Zhang Jianyu, upon hearing the deal that he spent much effort into settling got cancelled, immediately exploded. My vice director position is take this lightly by others. This is good. Lu Fengjin indeed has a nice relationship with Sang Qing. Zhang Jianyu happily laughed. Now that this deal got screwed up by one of Lu Fengjin's subordinates, there is no way that Sang Qing's intestines aren't green. Yes, he must suffer for not taking me seriously. But Yi Qing, where did you get this tech? From what I understand of your factory, you can't make these machines right. I sold a couple machines from the factory and imported a few foreign engraving machines. Zhang Jianyu has no understanding of mechanical manufacturing at all. However, for deals this big, he clearly believed that Yi Qing's factory is too small to handle alone. He definitely needs to cooperate with other larger manufacturers to finish. Well, aren't I lucky? Zhang Jiangyu laughed even more happily. In the next 3 months, my office is working closely with high-class communities. There is a lot of places where we use stone. If we need carvings, then lower the prices a bit and I can tell them about it. Yi Qing with a very cheerful attitude replied. No problem, Uncle Zhang, I'll give you the production's cost. Have your dad take me out for drinks later. Getting your hands on deals this big, your future is bright, my friend. I'll have him bring you out for Mao Tai. Seeing the red light intersection in front of him, Yi Qian quickly informed. Uncle Zhang, I need to hang up now, the intersection in front has cameras. There is a while before the lights change. Having ended the call, Yi Qing casually placed his elbow out the window, but it is clear that he is still shaking with excitement. Got a big order, perfect. Some people are lucky and some aren't. Han Yupeng got congratulations from the chief, and received another scolding from his boss. His boss, Lu Fengjin, clearly has a close relationship with Sang Qing. As for why Han Yupeng got this fierce scolding from Lu Fengjin, it is because of his impulsiveness for not first telling him, but going over his head and getting the go-ahead from the chief directly. Having scolded him for nearly 20 minutes, Lu Fengjin is finally able to let out some steam. But scolding aside, Lu Fengjin isn't worried at all that this will affect the relationship he has with Sang Qing. Yi Qing's factory is a manufacturing factory, not a granite mining plant. Hence, Yi Qing must buy those 250,000 pieces of curbstone. He had to have them shipped and then processed. In Zhongyan's surroundings, there is only empty Meihua that is suitable for mining granite. And again within empty Meihua, there is only Jiangshan masonry which can provide 250,000 curbstones within 2 months. After having gone around full circle, everything still came back to the source. When the time comes, just invite them to a feast. Yi Qing can easily be convinced to come with just the excuse of introducing a stone provider for him. Since this will not only provide Yi Qing with a source of materials, Yi Qing will also be grateful to Lu Fengjin. On Snag Qing's side, it is best to keep him in the loop, but first need to inform him that the deal is over. Getting kicked out of multiple million yuan deal, Sang Qing naturally will be anxious as heck. There is no fear of letting others know, this is confirmed by the chief himself, so who here at the office doesn't know? In the end, Snag Qing still needed come to me looking for help. At that time, introduce Yi Qing to him. Haha, eating from both sides. No matter if it's Yi Qing or Snag Qing, they all have to be grateful to me. Thinking of all the potential results, Lu Fengjin can't help but start humming. He Sang Qing, who told you not to sign off the deal, you just had to raise the price by 2 yuan, now let's see how you come begging. Having laughed enough, Lu Fengjin decided to give Sang Qing some hints. If he calls too late, then there is no saying that someone else might get ahead of him. As the call connected, Lu Fengjin's smile turned very treacherous. Boss Sang, what you up to? Yo, Director Lu, I at the car dealership. As a matter of fact, it's all because of that big order you gave me. Now I'm preparing to get a Benz to increase my livelihood. Director, if you need a car, just give me a call. I'll fill the car up and deliver it to your home. Within Clear Sky Factory, just as Yi Qing parked the van, without even locking it, he is already running off towards Yi Jiangning's office on the 2nd floor. He needed to contact marble producers to place an order for a huge volume of curbstones. Clear Sky Factory only uses cutting machines. Stone cutters are of course part of the sales inventory, but its sales have always been on and off. Those who buy these are of course stone processing plants. It is possible to say that Yi Qing knows at least half of the stone processing plants within a couple of 100 kilometers of Zhongyan. Yi Qing remembered last year when he made a trip to Xuancheng, Anhui to test the machines of a very very large mining corporation. This mining corporation is just too big to describe. The amount of mines it owns is beyond count. Yi Qing remember they are called Tianqing Mining Industry. Being able to sell machines to this kind of large, cross-province corporation is all pure luck. At the time, Jiancheng Mining Industry just bought the mining rights to a couple of marble mines, hence they required a large quantity of new mechanical equipment. To get enough stock, the local equipment dealer came over and ordered some just to fill in the shortage. That batch of machines were fine when Yiqing went to check on them. Of course, they also provided no merits, otherwise the business wouldn't have just ended since then. Within Yi Jiangning's office is Jiancheng Mining Industries' contact number. Finding them to order large amounts of curbstones is definitely the correct choice. The deals the factory makes are all recorded, one on paper, and another electronically. Hence Yiqing is sorting through all the forms in the office. Sorting through all the paperwork, he found two of Jiancheng Mining Industries' workers' numbers. Upon calling the first number, the other side said they already resigned and isn't working for them anymore. The owner of the second number first asked who Yiqing was and how he got his number. Yiqing replied without thinking that it's from a business partner. Oh, I'm not in charge of the marble mines since a long time ago. Currently I'm working at the general headquarters. Then if possible, can you tell me the number of the person currently in charge? Yiqing realized that the Jiancheng mining industry is seriously big, even spending money to buy things is this complicated. Is the order large or not? If it's not, then you can just go online to find their business line. Tens of million yuan order, you think that's big or small? Big, super big, sir. Sir, let me put you on hold for a minute while I get the person in charge on the line. The voice on the other side was excited to the point of cracking. Orders of millions, since Yiqing called him, then naturally he gets the credit for bringing in the client. As long as the order gets finalized and signed, then the signing bonus for him alone is 200,000 yuan. Chapter 12. Happy Collaboration. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Yiqing didn't wait long before the line picked up again. Sir, the person in charge is currently on a business trip. So I told this to my general manager, she said she'll call you immediately. Sorry about this and the long wait. No problem, and thanks. Yiqing finally experienced what it felt like to be thought after. Although it's just a few pleasantries, but when they are heard, its effect is even sweeter than maple syrup. No wonder all those big bosses like to make so much commotion. So it's because they're used to all this flattery. Haha, from now on, I'm also one of them. Yiqing lazily stretched as he sat down on the creaking boss chair. Having placed his legs on the desk with chipped paint, he patiently waited for the call from the general manager of Jiancheng Mining Corporation. This is the difference. Before, Yiqing must do his utmost best to wait for a tiny purchase, several causal orders, from a small mining department of Jiancheng Industries. Now. In front of a millions of yuan purchase, the general manager of the listed Jiancheng mining industry must make a personal call. The general manager. These types of people, even if Yiqing want to collude with them, he at least needed to take out one of his competitors before he is even given the chance. Haha, when Jiancheng Mining Industries general manager calls, I definitely need to make a good impression. Bling bling bling, the old, cracked iPhone 4 rang. Yiqing grabbed the phone and took a look at the number. What? This easy to remember number, 6 prepared numbers. Hello there, is this Mr. Yi speaking? I'm the general manager of Jiancheng Industries Xiaomuqing. A soft and silky voice, that is able to charm anyone, transmitted over. It's a her. She sounds so young, and for some reason, Yiqing felt as if his heart was beating at an abnormal pace. Sometimes with just a voice, it can cause fluctuations in heart rate. Yiqing's elementary classmate Su Ningdong's voice is also like this. One wouldn't get tired of hearing it even after hundreds of times. Now this Xiaomuqing person, with a different tone, gave Yiqing a new kind of experience. Yes, Yiqing still dazed as he answered. Originally he expected some old geezer, but instead he got a beautiful woman on the line. Mr. Yi, I heard you wish to purchase a large amount of curbstones. Xia Muqing's Mandarin pronunciation is accurate enough to be a TV host. What type of material would you like? Granite, the sesame gray kind. I also need them to be of particular dimensions. We can carefully discuss the prices, but the products definitely need to match my standards. Yi Qin earnestly stated. In total I need 250,000 pieces. I want to know how quickly I can get the first batch. Since you're specifying the dimensions, then they need to be pre-cut before being sent. I can guarantee batches of 70,000 pieces per week. I'll send you the details. What's your email? Yi Qin pulled out a pen and paper, ready to record down the mailing address. Add me on Work QQ, it would be easier to discuss the details. Xia Muqing embarrassingly laughed. This laughter had Yi Qin suddenly remember an ancient idiom. As beautiful as the jade crown. Getting rid of these random thoughts, Yi Qin opened his QQ and added her account. Nowadays, none of the young generation like to use emails. They preferred the use of chat engine, which allows them to communicate whenever they want. This QQ account of hers is most likely a work account since its membership hasn't even been opened. After being accepted, Yi Qin sent her the curbstone dimensions, materials and time limit from the contract signed in the city construction office. Furthermore, he also had her give a price for the materials. Soon, Xia Muqing sent over a picture. On it is the prices for all kinds of standard curbstones. 5,000 pieces minimum, 50,000 pieces plus gets price cuts. And 250,000 just happen to be 10 million exactly. This price is very fair. Originally, the city construction office wanted to use this price to sign the deal with Shangqing. Counting on these corporations to lower the price is impossible. Also, this 10 million of course doesn't include the transportation fees. Distribution costs are all public knowledge. Yi Qin has also used them before to send multiple machines around the country. 250,000 curbstones, around 10,000 tons total. From Xuanqing to Zhongyan is roughly 350 kilometers. According to the distribution costs in Zhongyan, this adds up to 1,400,000 yuan. This is also the reason why Lai Fengjin is certain that Yi Qin will definitely purchase curbstones from Jiangshan Masonry. Throwing away 1,400,000 for nothing, who'll do that? However, Yi Qin is currently using realistic actions to express his opinions. Tiancheng Corporation definitely has its own distribution team. Xia Muqing asked Yi Qin which city he is in, and said she can lower the distribution's costs to at most 1 million. Because he is strapped for money, hence Yi Qin is stubbornly haggling for the transportation costs. Negotiating left and right, he still absolutely insisted that Xia Muqing should lower the price even more. Having disputed over 5 pages of chat history, Xia Muqing finally gave in with a speechless expression and lowered the price to 800,000. Xia Muqing in new message asked. Mr. Yi, are you sending someone over, or am I sending someone over to you to sign the contract? Neither. We can just do it electronically. And send each other a copy when it's done. Yi Qin is very familiar with Tiancheng Industries' powers. Hence picked a method that is generally used between acquaintances for convenience. Mr. Yi, you're too generous. Xia Muqing sent over a cupped fist expression. Down payment is 20% of the contract price, so I'll just charge you 2 million. Are you going to write a check or direct transfer? Nanny. Having gotten a 15 million order, Yi Qin inevitably thought himself as a boss with millions in assets. Hence he was leisurely sitting in the leather boss chair, discussing contracts. After a while, he suddenly remembered there were only 50,000 yuan left in the factory. Unfortunately, Yi Qin also can't tell the other side that, a boss who is preparing to make a 10 million yuan purchase, only has 50,000 in his pockets. Because no one would do business with these type people. Hence, having reached here, Yi Qin can only use his 50,000 yuan to play out this 10 million yuan deal. We can wait on signing the contract. First send me a sample of 1,000 pieces as fast as possible. Send me your company account, I'll transfer over the costs of the sample. Sure, need an electronic contract for this then. No need, too inconvenient. Yi Qing bit his teeth, acting like a wealthy individual. The financier wants to examine the samples, what can Xia Muqing do? She can only send over the company account transfer information at once. The pathetic 50,000, which didn't even have time to appreciate in the bank, had 40-some thousand transferred out by Yi Qing. Xia Muqing expressed that they have marble strips in stock. So the sample can immediately be made. And as to express her sincerity, had the company's distribution center send out the stuff in the evening. Happy collaboration. Yi Qing concluded. Happy collaboration. Xia Muqing replied back. Having finished discussing the tentative cooperation, Yi Qing turned off the computer and ran down into the workshop. Xia Muqing said that the sample will be on the road by evening. If nothing unusual happens, then it'll arrive tomorrow morning. When the time comes, the workshop is going to need process large amounts of curbstones. Hence there is a need to renovate the workshop a little bit. Summoning out the two peons, Yi Qing had them sweep all the random parts lying around in the workshop into the corner. Chapter 13. How to Get a Woman's Number. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 are ferocious looking and appear to be even bigger than Shaq O'Neal. Their work efficiency is like a bulldozer. Within the time it takes to smoke a cig, the two muscle heads had already cleared away everything in the workshop. Having cleared the floor, Yi Qing then directed them to the flame cutters and asked them to cut up the steel plates and weld them with wire wielders into 4 water tanks. When cutting stone products, there will be large amounts of byproduct in the form of stone powder. This stuff needs to be washed away, and the injected water can be used to cool off the engraver blades to avoid unnecessary damages to the blades and the materials. Before having worked with stone products, Yi Qing was still laughing at those bosses' stinginess for reusing wastewater that is full of stone powder. Now that he is working stone, he is even more vicious than. He decided to use 2 tractor-size wastewater tanks. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 are simple yet ferocious. Normally when people are wielding not wearing protective glasses is purely asking to die. When these two are wielding, not only do they stare at it, but they open their eyes up to be even bigger than cows. 2-meter-long weld seams are completed all in one go, zzz, a straight line all the way to the end. The welded seam, after passing through their hands, is as if they've already been embellished. The wielding marks are presented as waves of perfectly arranged circles. Its looks are even better than those products completed by automated welding machines. Just this set of skills alone is even better than those professional welders who have at least 10 years of experience. 20 minutes later, the 4 large water tanks have all been welded. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 then found some strong steel and welded them onto the tanks as supports. This way, after drilling in a hole on the supports and adding on wheels to them, the water tank once filled can still move in all directions. The supports require the use of large-scale steel cutting machine to process. Except when Hulk 1 turned to turn on the cutting machines, the machine, no matter what, just won't start. More than likely, it's broken. Yi Qing concluded after running over and fiddling with it. This machine is full of problems. Not only does it shake massively while working, but it's way out of date and needing a replacement. Yi Qing remembered seeing a cutting machine up for sale in the Monster Factory's shopping center. With his remaining 200 gold, he can buy one from there. In any case, as soon as the stones arrive, then with Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 on the engravers, a steady flow of carved products can be sold. Easily acquiring gold. At the present time, there is only the possibility of buying common processing tools from the shop. Moreover, there aren't that many choices in the shop. Hence the need to level up the factory to unlock higher quality tools and unlocking more possibilities. There are 2 types of cutting machines. Handheld ones cost only 10 gold, while tabletop ones cost 30. Of course, above the cutting machines on this sales list, there are metal cutting grinding wheels, sinter diamond wheels for cutting precious jewels, and such consumables can also be bought for 2 gold each. Stainless steel cutting wheel is bit more expensive, with a price tag of 10 gold. Stainless steel is the hardest metal to cut and drill into within the common metal family. Due to its high toughness, it can even burn out electrical drills if it is used to drill it. Tabletop cutting machines have high strength and precision. Yi Qing brought a common one and it's more than enough. As for the saw blades, there is no need to buy since there is still a bunch in the Clear Sky factory storage. Tabletop cutting machine, quality. Normal, properties. Cutting power plus 20%, cutting precision plus 2%. Even if it's normal quality machines, after being summoned by Yi Qing, it still comes with special perks. Heavy looking, but a wonderful construct. It is painted with metallic red paint, just like the mirror paints from sports cars. Clearly even people not of the trade can tell this cutting machine is different. Connecting the power, Yi Qing can't wait to grab some metal and test it. The factory's original metal cutter require the workers to be able to hold down the cutting material when operating. When cutting a standard H-shaped steel, it requires at least a minute. Now, when Yi Qing is operating this new machine, he only need 20 seconds. As for the hulks, with their huge strength and additional properties, only 12 seconds is required. If used with the cutting discs from the factory app shop, then the time needed would be even less. Yi Qing lied down in the lounge beside his office. He finally fell asleep after tossing and turning for nearly half the night. When the sun finally rose to the first floor windows, Yi Qing is awoken by a call. A normal long-distance number. After connecting the call, Yi Qing was immediately asked for his address because his stone sample is here. Truly efficient. Yi Qing, having reported his address, quickly went to take a shower. The earlier he finishes, the earlier he gets paid. This is Yi Qing's thirst for money. Although sadly, his wallet is currently almost empty. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 have both already returned to their cards for rest. Hence Yi Qing is alone in the large workshop. Roughly 30 minutes later, the signature sound of an approaching truck can be heard outside the factory. Yi Qing ran out and get both drivers a cig. Go straight in, there is enough space to store it all. The truck is full of tightly packed curbstone pallets. With a forklift, Yi Qing started the unloading the pallets. 1,000 curbstones, unloaded in 10 some minutes. The drivers gave Yi Qing a bill to sign, then politely refused staying for breakfast and drove off. How can Yi Qing have any thoughts of eating breakfast? As soon as the truck left, he locked the door and summoned the peons. Go, go, go. Yi Qing picked up his box cutter and cut open the packing for stone pallets. It's just when he finally opened the packing and saw the curbstone inside, Yi Qing is completely dumbstruck. Strips of orderly piled, sesame gray marble is definitely there. But what Yi Qing need are 80 centimeter long curbstones. So what's the deal with the 2.4 meter long stone strips on the forklift? Yi Qing is so pissed that he picked up the measuring tape and found that the marble strips are of the same width and height. It's just its length is the comparable to 3 curbstones together. These are basically unfinished stone strips. Xia Muqing has no reason to purposely send these items to mess with their reputation. Thus it must be a mistake by her subordinates. Who would have thought that a large corporation such as Tiancheng Industries could make such an amateur mistake? Yi Qing is so pissed that he directly called Xia Muqing's cell phone. Respect customer, hello. It is currently off hours. If you would like to leave a message, our workers will call you back when they get back to work. If you seek any business inquiries, then please try our 24 hours customer service line. Couple minutes passed before trying again, but still same reply. Flipping out the driver's number and call it, but the only reply he got was they are only responsible for transporting, and only guarantee the safe delivery of the product. The truck driver also told Yi Qing to ask the person responsible during work hours. At around 7 a.m., Xia Muqing's call finally arrived. She most likely just woke up, hence the languidness in her voice and the sound of her stretching. Get on QQ, I already sent you a picture. Hearing Yi Qing's cold-hearted voice, Xia Muqing received quite the scare. Mr. Yi, what is the problem that made you this angry? Xia Muqing's voice came in as if afraid of the incoming reply. Sorry for the inconvenience, Mr. Yi, but I can only log into QQ on the office computer. How about you add me on WeChat? Xia Muqing hesitated for a long time, as if unwillingly giving away something important. Is there something wrong with the product? Chapter 14. Recruit.a.friend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. You'll understand once you see the picture. Yi Qing wrote down her WeChat ID, then snapped a couple pictures of the stone strips. Her WeChat ID is that of a cell phone number, a very normal one at that. Yi Qing reckoned this is her private number. Therefore, this WeChat account is naturally her private account. Wouldn't that mean that I get to access her pictures? Having accepted the friend request on that side, he immediately opened up her friend's circle. Because the cell phone only supports a 2G network, Yi Qing hurried to office and connected to the Wi-Fi. Aha! Pictures. Some nice-looking food and scenic pictures piqued Yi Qing's interest. Unfortunately, after scrolling down multiple pages, Yi Qing still couldn't find a picture of her. Ultimately, after scrolling through countless pages of pictures, he still couldn't find one with a person in them. Mr. Yi, have you sent the picture yet? Xia Muqing messaged. Sorry, please wait a moment, my internet here is pretty bad. Yi Qing uploaded the pictures into Chat Pronto. Having received the pictures, Xia Muqing immediately replied with a shocked monkey face emoji. I'm sorry. So sorry. Xia Muqing apologized non-stop. Furthermore, she sent over a sincere apology saying she'll look into where the problem occurred right away. Yi Qing on the other hand can only respond with please find out soon. For an order of 10 million yuan, if Yi Qing's factory had accepted the complete order without samples, and made some random mistake during the first shipment, then Yi Qing will most likely waste a couple thousand yuan, fly over and have them cover all the expenses and ask for compensations. Tiancheng Corporation naturally can't behave like this, but in the face of a 10,000,000 yuan order, they also can't ignore it. Sure enough, not long later Xia Muqing called back saying she found the source of the problem. The mistake happened at the warehouse. Yesterday they had a delivery for another client from another part of the country that is the exact same as Yi Qing's order, except they wanted stone strips instead of curbstones. What Yi Qing ordered are finished products. Except when the warehouse was packing them, for some unknown reason, they also packed Yi Qing's to be stone strips. Xia Muqing also said that the ones in charge there have already been heavily criticized. Furthermore, they've also lost this month's bonus. So do you want the trucks to transfer the strip back? You can keep that batch. All you just need is some stone cutters to chop them up, since the width and height are all correct. I'm really sorry about this. Xia Muqing apologized non-stop and said she'll send over another batch later today. What else can Yi Qing say? Since there is a mistake in the order, then naturally there would be some compensations. Stone cutters. Yi Qing smacked his head. The factory itself makes cutting machines. Hanging up the call, Yi Qing yelled out. Hulks. Get over here, we're gonna make some cutting tools. Sang Qing destroyed the contract for the rest of the cutting machines, but there are still many components of the second cutting machine lying around. Although they've been cleared out by the hulks, but they're just lying there. So might as well as make one out of them. The machine bed has already been welded, all that's left is smoothing it down. If it's for self-use, then not smoothing it down is fine. As long as it's got a workbench, guide rails, a power source, and a control panel, then it's basically usable. Yi-Qing supervised and quality controlled, while Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 assembled. After skipping over the smoothing, polishing, painting and other exterior-related steps, Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 finished assembling the machine in a little over an hour. Ding! The cell phone carrying the Monster Factory app suddenly vibrated. Yi-Qing opened it and saw. System notification. Constructed one simple stone cutter, peons who participated have their experience increased by 2%. Under the careful manufacturing of the peons, this simple machines has been granted special properties. Simple stone cutter, quality. Inferior, BDNVL.M properties. Cutting efficiency plus 5%, sellable, this also works. This clearly is a surprise for Yi-Qing. So anything the peons make has its own properties and more importantly, is sellable. The stuff from the shopping center, although strong, but only he can use it. As soon as he sells it, it drops to a normal item without any properties. Furthermore, as long as peons create an item, they are awarded with a set amount of experience. With experience, then there must be a leveling up system. As soon as levels are increased, then their stats are also increased. Of course, the factory itself can level up, but currently Yi-Qing only has a level 1 factory bonded to him. As soon as he recruits a total of 10 peons, the factory will level up. According to the system introduction of the level 2 factory, not only does its effects increase but also gains the ability to recruit another kind of monster and gain a lottery draw chance for a new blueprint. When the time comes, Monster Factory will become his spearhead into the world stage. The factory can at most level up to level 9. Then it has the capability to produce almost anything. From something as small as a screw to as big as a passenger plane. Think about it, a passenger plane with capacity plus 100%, flight distance plus 100%, stability plus 100%. If sold with the same price as a regular plane, then isn't this the end of the other plane manufacturing businesses? Boeing, Airbus, Bombardier, but in front of the Monster Factory, they are all trash. Of course, everything needs time to develop. Similarly, there is a long road ahead if he wants to reach the pinnacle of world and surpass global manufacturing businesses. Leveling up step by step is the key, at least leveling up to level 2 is pretty easy. As soon as Yi-Qing gets paid for the first batch of curbstones, then he can easily level up the factory. After connecting the power for the cutting machine, everything is normal. If Yi-Qing wants to move the several hundred kilogram stone strips, without Hulk 1 and 2, then he can only use a suspension system. Which as of now, is purely a waste of time. Now with the strength of Hulk 1, with just one trip, he can move 4 strips and neatly arrange them on the cutting tool's workbench. Under the efficiency bonus of the factory, the peon's personal bonus, and the machine quality bonus, an unprecedented efficiency was achieved. Ci-Ka, the sesame gray marble strips, under the blades of the stone cutter, were just like butter. Possessing almost no resistance as it was cut apart. The cut is smooth and leveled. It's as if it has already been sanded smooth by sandpaper. Hulk 2 is in charge of the rapid metal engraver. As soon as the stones are cut, he immediately picked it up and placed it into the engraver. 20 seconds later, it's as if a splendid and magnificent court lady pulled back her veil and revealed herself to the world. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 possess a certain form of beauty while working. Their exaggerated muscles allows them to complete manual labor that is impossible for regular humans easily. Their every action is both meticulous and precise, just like a machine, with no extra wasted movements. Unable to be lazy, play tricks, nor be idle on the job. Yi-Qing standing there alone, is sticking out like a sore thumb. Excessive and unnecessary. A piece of curbstone weighs at least several dozen kilograms. If counting on him to move them, then after moving several pieces he'll be dead tired as he lies there panting. However, before long, Yi Qing found a new problem. When Hulk 1 finishes cutting a piece of curbstone, he needs to place it onto the ground. When operating the rapid metal engraver, Hulk 2 must move a couple of steps to retrieve the curbstone, then, after engraving, neatly placing it back onto the ground. Although they have fast movements, but this still wastes a little time. Although it's just a little, but with a workload of 250,000 pieces of curbstone, every second counts. Especially when there is only 2 months to produce them. According to this work rate, there is no way he'll finish on time. Hiring a peon cost 100 gold. Yi Qing still have 170 gold remaining, hence decided to recruit another one. Chapter 15. Worth it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Workers can only be recruited from certain buildings in the factory, and a level 1 factory can only support 10 peons. After he pressed the higher option, another cloud of gas appeared out of thin air in the workshop. When it dissipated, another peon with the same green skin, massive muscles, and tusks appeared. You're called Hulk 3, now go help them transfer the curbstones. With Hulk 3 doing the picking and placing in the middle, the processing speed raised by half. Yi Qing observed the 3 peons as they worked. Truth to be told, the speed and precision they are working with is the same as if they were working with processed curbstones. Undoubtedly the stone strips are much cheaper, which would result in a higher profit. Maybe I should buy stone strips and process them myself. Of course, there is only one stone cutter at the moment. If he wants to process the stone strips into curbstones, then he must get 2 more. This way they can work in shifts, 2 on, 1 off. Otherwise they could run out if they are working for long periods of time. Yi Qing gave Xia Muqing another call to let her change the complete curbstones into stone strips. Furthermore, this also applies to future purchases. Xia Muqing naturally isn't against it. The only difference between stone strips and completed curbstones is only in the last cutting step. Without this step, the total purchase price is lowered by 1 million yuan. Subtracting the cost of labor and the material costs, Xia Muqing isn't losing much from the deal. 6 hours later, a total of 1,200 pieces of carved curbstones are completed. The mistaken batch of stone strips, once processed, left Yi Qing with 200 extra pieces than he originally ordered. This mistake is truly very beneficial for Yi Qing. Knowing that he only has a couple of thousand left, Yi Qing called for a previously used transportation company and had them transfer the newly packed carved curbstones. As for the exchange spot, it was determined to be one of the Bureau's construction sites. Currently, they haven't started to work on the city's main streets yet, as the City Construction Management Bureau decided to start next Monday. That is also when Yi Qing needed to start delivering the carved curbstones. Although delivering the product right now is still early, since Yi Qing is seriously broke, he must exchange these carvings into real money. Not long after Yi Qing make the call, the bureau chief and 2 vice chiefs hurriedly drove over to inspect the product. If they were normal curbstones, even if there are 1 million pieces, there is still no way that the chief would be willing to come over and perform the inspection personally. What Yi Qing possessed are artistic curbstones. Zhang Ledong is looking forward to using these curbstones to beautifully answer the questions handed down by the higher-ups. The curbstones have already been unpacked, and are surrounded by a large group of old geezers. Each one of them is pointing and stroking the stone with looks of excitement. Just as Chief Zhang Ledong got off the car, workers recognized him and consciously moved away, creating a path to the stones. Chief Zhang Ledong's virtues aren't far off from these workers. In his eyes, these wonderful stone carvings are just like his ungraded test answers. Right now, Bureau of Landscaping and Forestry, Bureau of City Management, Bureau of Tourism, Bureau of Cultural Affairs, Bureau of Health and Sanitation and many other bureau chiefs are all expressing their anxiety, delight and frustration. Since they are all trying to come up with ideas that incorporates both culture and science to improve the city. These bureau chiefs haven't even come up with any concrete plans, yet the City Construction Management Bureau has already come up with a perfect proposal. Furthermore, these all-important carved curbstones had 1,200 pieces finished in advance. So who gets the credit? Of course it's him. The whole proposal, from recommendation to the signing the contract to receiving the first batch of products, is all done by him. One step ahead, always ahead. Chief Zhang Ledong can confirm, when the main streets of the city have their curbstones swapped out, would definitely boost the city's aesthetics. It will also pave the way for his future in politics. Chief, are you satisfied with these carvings? Yi Qing, noticing the dazed Zhang Ledong staring at the stones, can't help but ask. Very. Zhang Ledong yelled, cutting Yi Qing off. I'm very satisfied. I can't wait any longer. It's decided. The construction workers will begin tomorrow. First goal, switch out all the curbstones on Sci-fi Bridge. Then the payment for these curbstones. Yi Qing hesitated. My factory is really small. In order to make this batch of stones, I've already used up all of my available funds. We'll immediately transfer the payment as well as the down payment for the next batch of 50,000 pieces. In addition, you'll receive an extra 30%. With the wave of Chief Zhang Ledong's hand, a suit-wearing staff member immediately ran over and asked for Yi Qing's company account number. Oh right, Xiaoyi comrade. Can you switch out the drawings to be whatever we come up with? Zhang Ledong, who's been examining these curbstones non-stop, suddenly came up with some wonderful idea, and happily asked Yi Qing. No problem. To be honest, I also find these type of pictures too monotone. Court lady pictures work well with Sci-fi Bridge, but our Zhongyun's main streets will need some other special drawings. There was no need for Yi Qing to come up with the drawing, so naturally, Yi Qing has no objections. Good, good, good. Zhang Ledong said. Carve out all of our Zhongyun's history on them. Every main streets can't have duplicates. Yi Qing, who is about to receive a huge payment, naturally agreed. Saying this idea is just too perfect, he probably couldn't have come up with this perfect idea. Haha, Zhang Ledong laughed to the point that his eyebrows looked as if they're dancing to disco. Having taken his leave from the several chiefs, Yi Qing returned to the factory. 1,200 pieces sold for 72,000 yuan. And the down payment for the next batch from the contract also rose by 10%, totaling to exactly 1 million. 1,070,000 plus yuan, is currently lying comfortably in Yi Qing bank account. Safe from everyone. This is 1,070,000 yuan. Yi Qing is happy to the point of being crazy. With this large sum of money, Yi Qing felt as if his back is much stronger than before. You have to realize that earlier, Yi Qing was reluctant to buy well-packaged cigs. Now, the money for a brand new BMW 730 is just lying there in his account. Furthermore, earning these types of large income will only happen more often in the future. Woman, cars, houses, watches, yachts, can't miss out on any of them. Having refreshed the account summary of his bank account multiple times, Yi Qing is still daydreaming about his new future. Of course, when the contract is completed and all the funds have been paid, then Yi Qing still needed to pay a trip to the tax agency to pay off the taxes on this deal. However, the higher the tax he needs to pay, the more Yi Qing is earning. Hence he was naturally receiving benefits with taxes. Not long after the money appeared in his bank account, the Monster Factory app made the phone vibrate again. Congratulations on earning money with the monsters. Do you want to turn a portion of this money into gold? Yi Qing remembered that the introduction had specified the exchange ratio of cash to gold is 1.100. Although unwilling, he definitely needed to exchange a portion. Otherwise he can't hire more peons to level up the factory. Bedo.m Yi Qing is seriously looking forward to the level 2 factory, especially for that blueprint lottery chance. Pressing the exchange button, the system asked Yi Qing to input the amount of gold to exchange. Yi Qing gritted his teeth and typed in 800 gold. Ding, deducting money from the company account. Please retrieve 80,000 in cash before trying the exchange function again. Yi Qing, without a second word, pulled out his checkbook, filled one out for 100,000 yuan and Pai Pa smacked on all the necessary stamps. A company in need of cash needed to write a check and retrieve it from the bank. Fortunately, there is a bank in the industrial park. Yi Qing spent half an hour and brought the cash back into the factory. Leaving behind 20,000 on his card, he had the rest transferred into the monster factory. A sudden light surrounded these 8 stacks of bills. Under Yi Qing's unwilling looks, the 8 stacks all disappeared into thin air. The moment the stacks disappeared, a ding-dong sound can be heard, and within the gold column of Monster Factory is an extra 800. Summon. Yi Qing bit his lips and hired and summoned 7 new peons. Since he is going to do it, then he may as well as spend it all. At least now he is able to level up the factory to level 2. This is definitely worth it. Chapter 16. No fear, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Selecting the peons, Yi Qing pressed the higher button 7 times in a row. When the gas clouds dissipated, 7 new peons appeared. Yi Qing, who has gotten used to the summoning effects of these monsters, is sizing up these workers in front of him. 10, 1.95 meter tall, over 350 pounds, full of bursting muscles, monsters with giant tusks. Orderly lined up in a row. This kind of view is impossible to describe. Truthfully, Yi Qing is looking forward to bringing them with him as he goes to collect his debts. Even if it's those almighty debtors who, not matter what, will try to escape from the debt collector, will need to immediately and obediently spit out everything they owe, including the interest. In front of a green-skinned monster with tusks, there isn't any room for negotiation. Although, apart from Sang Qing, Yi Qing has no beef with anyone else. However, Yi Qing actually still owes some of his classmates, roughly 10,000 yuan, from a couple of days ago when he had to borrow to pay the hospital bills. Now that he has the money, naturally he's going to pay them back. But this doesn't need to be done too urgently. Right now it's best to get the upgrade rather than worry about returning the money. Having hired a total of 10 peons, Yi Qing unlocked the ability to upgrade the factory. Without any hesitation, Yi Qing pressed yes. System upgrading 0.1%, 0.2%. From the looks of things, it's going to be at least an hour-long wait. At the moment, there isn't any stones left to carve, so Yi Qing supervised these peons to cut steel plates into machine components and to assemble them into 2 more stone cutters. The stockpiled steel in the factory is just enough to make 2 more machines. 10 peons working together is definitely not as simple as 1 + 1 = 10. This is a group of inexhaustible, unable to procrastinate monsters. If they are each given a sledgehammer and sent out to demolish, then they definitely will be quicker at it than someone operating an excavator. Of course, these peons can't be used 24/7 straight like robots. They still need their rest after a day of work to recover their fatigue value. Now that Yi Qing has 10 peons, there is no problem rotating them around in staggered shifts. Making use of this leftover time, Yi Qing logged on to WeChat and returned the money he borrowed from his classmates. Yi Qing has some nice connections while at school. Previously, when he called his university buddies to borrow money, many of them transferred funds over through WeChat. However, it's just that the numbers are too small. Nothing can be done here, so Yi Qing had to ask around in his middle school class group. They were all separated into different classes in high school, and grade 12 was just too tiresome. Yi Qing forgot about most of their names and looks. However, he still kept his connections with his middle school classmates, and they all kept in touch. Within the middle school group, only 2 lent him money. One gave 800, while the other gave 3,000. This one is also the one, out of all of his classmates, who lent him the most money. The one who lent 3,000 is a female classmate, named Zhang Zhidong. Yi Qing is very unfamiliar with Zhang Zhitong, especially since 8th grade because they never spoke since then. Zhang Zhitong has a no matter what they do, men will always forgive her kind of look. However, she did not give any boys a chance during all of middle school and high school. Because Zhang Zhitong at the time loved reading novels, especially those of the detective genre which boys rarely touch. Hence all of her classmates, including the teacher, all knew what she wanted to do in the future. And that is to be a police officer. Due to this, it was rumored that she even especially asked a well-known local martial artist to be her master and teach her kung fu. Normally students who like to read, all have bad grades. However, Zhang Zhitong is an exception. She is genius. During 9th grade, she is already able to rent and read English detective novels from the school library. During 12th grade, Yi Qing heard from his classmates that she even had the ambition to attend the National Police University of China early. Those universities that allow early enrollment, generally are all police academies with special requirements. Those who have the ambition to enroll early are all brave people. Because with many schools, if you fill out the early enrollment form then you'll be accepted as long as your grade passes. However, you will rarely be able to choose another school after, even if Harvard is on the list. The National Police University of China was established before the founding of the country. It is also a sacred place for the majority of our nation's detective wannabes. At the same time, it is also the university with the highest acceptance standards in all of China. Back then, she was the only one in all of Zhongyan whose early enrollment was accepted by the National Police University of China. Those who come in contact with SWAT members are all scoundrels or dauntless bandits. Hence, due to the occupational hazards after graduation, the police academy has very strict standards when accepting new students. Especially for girls, it's so much that it can even be called nitpicking. Zhang Zhitong was able to be early accepted by the National Police Academy, mainly due to her body's strength, which is stronger than most boys. If you can make friends with these kinds of people, who after graduation, are guaranteed to have a boundless future, then these friendships naturally need to be treasured. However, to be honest, if it wasn't because Yi Qing had nowhere else to go couple of days ago, then he wouldn't want to talk to Zhang Zhitong ever again. This grudge was planted during the 8th grade. Not long after the start of 8th grade, the bikes that were parked in the school bike rack, kept on having their tires deflated for no apparent reason. The culprits were very cunning. Even when several people from the class were guarding, they still managed to get away. During that period of time, many of the students were flustered. So much so that many of them brought bike pumps with them to school. Zhang Zhitong, who was in the same situation as them, said after her meticulous investigation, "It's all Yi Qing's fault." Everyone knows that Zhang Zhitong loves to do detective reasoning and is also able to understand major English works, which even their English teacher can't do. Hence everyone believed her. And what's more, her looks solidified her words beyond reasoning. It was even to the point where some restless adolescent youths took them as imperial edicts. The next day, Yi Qing showed up to class with bruises all over his face. This is because her words caused him to participate in a fierce fight with several of his classmates. Even after the culprit was caught, the bikes still had their tires deflated. In the end, the school guard had to be personally involved before several dropout thieves were caught. Yi Qing's injustice had been cleared, and received a barbecue meal from those whom he had the fight with as compensation. But the unjust treatment Yi Qing received at the time and classmates' contempt, were all unforgettable. Even after so many years had passed. If it wasn't because Zhang Zhitong was a girl, then Yi Qing would have already dragged her onto the school fields, and had an all-out brawl. Since then, Zhang Zhitong was automatically listed into Yi Qing's blacklist. Even when she publicly apologized in class, Yi Qing only put on an act of nodding and never talked to her again. This time, Zhang Zhitong unexpectedly lent Yi Qing money. Although unexpected, Yi Qing seriously had no choice but to accept it. "Thank you." 2 words. This was the only sentence that he had ever said to her in all these years, and they were all in a WeChat message. Using the gap while the peons were resting, Yi Qing returned all the money he borrowed and called them back for thanks. Finally came Zhang Zhidong's turn. After transferring the money, Yi Qing is still undecided on whether or not to call her to say thank you. Ah, forget, I've already called the rest of them. She's also the one who gave me the most, so it's better call. Yi Qing took several deep breaths and rehearsed countless times, before flipping through his contacts list. In the end, Yi Qing flipped his contact list upside down, before realizing that he never had Zhang Zhitong's cell phone number. Zhang Zhitong hasn't accepted the money yet, so Yi Qing wanted to wait for her to come online and say a couple of courteous thank you lines. Taking a look at the Monster Factory's upgrade process, it already reached 68%. At this moment the iPhone 4 rang, looks like someone is calling. The number is completely strange to him. Yi Qing has some suspicion that this is Zhang Zhitong's number. Zhang Zhitong has probably graduated from the National Police Academy. So if she wanted his number, she can just casually ask one of their classmates. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qing stiffly answered the call. Hello, who is this? It's me, Mr. Yi. A treacherous voice came through. I'm Lai Fenjin, Director of the City Construction Management Office's Municipal Architectural Design Office. We've met before, in that meeting room when you showed everyone those carved curbstones. Yi Qing is startled. He knows who Lu Fengjin is. He was introduced at the time in the meeting room. Yi Qing gave each of them a business card. But just why is he calling me now? I remember, how can I forget about Director Lu? From the rumors, this guy's is quite close with Sang Qing. If it wasn't because of the deal, Yi Qing would be unwilling to acknowledge him. Mr. Yi, are you free tonight? I booked a banquet at Tian Ranju restaurant, and I'm looking to meet with you, Mr. Yi. It's just I don't know if you're free. Asking me out for dinner. Yi Qing is like a blind monk, completely lost. My business is just beginning, it hasn't even reached the point where places that carry lots of power, like the City Construction Management Office, need to invite him out to curry favors with him, right? This. Director Lu, I already had plans tonight with some long-time no-see classmates. Yi Qing randomly chose an excuse to get by. This dinner is definitely not as simple as it looks. You must come, you must come. Mr. Yi, you can bring your classmates with you. I'll even introduce you a highly important boss. Lu Fengjin is polite to the point where people can't bear with it. Tian Ranju's C grouper isn't available every day. Mr. Yi, if you don't come then the grouper would be wasted. What a serious deal. Zhongyun is situated next to the sea, so everyone here loves eating seafood. As for sea groupers in restaurants, it would cost at least several thousand. If it's those rare ones, then being several times dearer is definitely not out of the question. Lu Fengjin says he wants to introduce someone to him. Yi Qing can pretty much already guess who it is. Alright then, Director Lu. I'll be there shortly. Escaping isn't Yi Qing's style. In any case, even if he escaped this time, he'll definitely receive even more invitations from Lu Fengjin later on. Of course, this dinner definitely won't end peacefully. Hence Yi Qing needed to make some preparations, just in case something does go wrong. The dinner was booked at 7 p.m., Yi Qing still has 2 hours to prepare. Hulk 1, Hulk 2, come over here. Yi Qing rushed towards the 2 peons who are still working on the machines. At the same time, he also had the other 8 peons return to their carts to rest. Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 swaggered over while swinging their arms. Yi Qing handed over the handheld grinder to the 2 and told them to saw off their tusks. The 2 monsters looked at each other with expressions full of reluctance. Since the boss has commanded, then they can't not follow orders. Their tusks are spread out like a tent. Just like the orcs in WoW, making people wonder whether or not they can pierce through armor. The grinder span at crazy high speeds as it slowly cut off the tusks. 10 minutes later, the 2 tuskless peons stared at each other, seemingly on the verge of crying. You don't say. As soon as they lost the tusks, they seriously look just like humans. It's just that their skin color is different, they are really ugly and have muscles everywhere. They seriously look like bodybuilders who have taken too many steroids. Yi Qing had them squeeze into his commercial van, then brought them to the wholesales market on Gongren Road. The glass in the van is full of dark solar film. So Yi Qing isn't worried about people seeing what's inside. Even if an accident occurs, he can always send the two back to the factory. Having arrived at the wholesales market on Gongren Road, Yi Qing found a secluded spot to park the van. Carefully locking the car, he made a beeline towards the closest wholesale store which offers hairdressing and related products. Chapter 17. One who does not understand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. Excuse me, do you sell hair dye here? Yes, of course. With business at his doorsteps, the owner of the store threw down the cards in his hands and ran over. What color do you need and in what price range? Need one that is inexpensive and doesn't fade easily. Yi Qing doesn't know much about hair products. Need it to be as black as possible. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically black people's skin color. You can mix them. You own a hairdresser's shop, yet you don't know how to mix colors. Yi Qing shook his head. Just mix it for me. And tell me the usage ratio. The owner snapped his finger, as if saying, I got it. Well, the owner wasn't lying at all. In no time, after mixing a couple of dyes, the color Yi Qing needed was created. Yi Qing dabbed some onto his fingers. After he tried it out, it looked exactly like a black person's skin color as shown on television. Yi Qing bought 50 of each of the 3 colors needed for mixing, a couple of large electrical razors, and a couple of sets of clothes specially tailored for those super fat people. When Yi Qing returned, the first thing he did is pass over the razors to the peons and told them to shave. The peons have a body height of over 1.9 meters. If it wasn't because the commercial van was big enough and had no back seats, there is no way that these two would fit in. While they were shaving, Yi Qing took out the formula, and mixed the dye using chopsticks following the ratios. Just like basting a duck, Yi Qing brushed the two from head to toe with hair dye. Now the two peons no longer look like monsters, but more like some incredibly buff black cavemen. Done. Yi Qing placed the brush down, as he viewed his pleasing work of art. The good thing with this dye is that it isn't affected by water. As long as the two are given a brushing twice a month, then Yi Qing is sure that people will only think of them as brothers from some back-end corner of Africa. There was absolutely no way will people think of them as monsters. As for their looks, there is just too many ugly people around. In some countries, the average looks can be even worse than these two. Once the dye dried, Yi Qing passed them each a set of clothing. Even though their size is extra large, but once the two wore them, it clung tightly to their body. Their thick limbs and steel plate-like chest is even more pronounced than before. He prepared size 15 professional basketball shoes, but it still doesn't fit them very well. Lastly, 2 pairs of full-coverage sunglasses. When the 2 pairs of sunglasses covered their muddy eyes, even if it's Yi Qing, he couldn't believe that these two were actually monsters. They basically look like black NBA players. Against these muscle heads, even if it were some wicked scoundrel, they would need to think twice before acting. This is the difference between body shape and power. Just like how no sheep would fight a wolf. Rather, they are angry tigers. Tigers who are surrounded by sheep. Perfect. Yi Qing sighed at his work. With Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 in tow, what is there to fear? Even if World War III happens, he would still have no worries. At 7 p.m. in the evening, lights lit up all of Liangjiang Road. As for Yi Qing, he parked the van in Tianranju's underground parking lot. Although Tianranju isn't a top-tier restaurant, it still has a long history of working with rare seafood. Currently, the parking lot is already almost full. Among the parked cars, there is no lack of million-yuan luxury cars. A black Jaguar cut in front of Yiqing. From the rolled-down window, a young man full of acne can be seen with one hand on the wheel and one hand somewhere else. The unsettled right hand is caressing a beautiful girl with shoulder-long hair, who is covering her mouth while giggling. The driver gave Yiqing a look, showing off his prize and sped past. Having locked the car, Yiqing looked at the antique-like car keys in his hands, then looked at all the advertisements on the commercial van. Then saw all the unfixed dents and scratches on the bumper. A determination to change rose from the bottom of Yiqing's heart. Cars, girls, even yachts and private jets, will all be his if he tries. The two peons in the van gave him complete confidence. Strive to earn money. With steps filled with determination, Yiqing entered Tianranju. Hello sir, do you have a reservation? A beautiful receptionist, wearing a red qipao, warmly greeted. Which floor is Mingyue Hall on? Yes sir, please follow me. This receptionist, for some unknown reason, disregarded the other guests and personally led Yiqing. Along the way, not only was she reverent and respectful, but even hurried to complete minor tasks, like pressing elevator buttons and so on. The third floor is decorated with those ancient wooden gazebos. Here Lu Fengjin and Sang Qing were both sitting on red wooden chair whispering to each other. Surrounding them were several eye candies. These girls were all invited over by Sang Qing from the Dingshan clubhouse after paying an extremely large fee. Lu Fengjin is completely flushed in front of these girls. The boss of Jiangshan Masonry, Sang Qing, on the other hand, is excited for some strange reason. It's to the point where, when they speak, even the walls of the room can't block it. This time, Zhongyun's plan changes have had many businesses who dealt with construction materials make a fortune. Originally Sang Qing should have been included in this list, but he didn't expect someone to come out of nowhere and jack his deal. It's 10 million. For this deal, not only did Sang Qing hire 50 more workers, but also bought a new marble extractor and several other stone cutters. Everything was ready, except in the end, Lu Fengjin called him saying the chief personally decided to give the curbstone deal to someone else. Who tried to steal my business? As someone who had a certain reputation on the streets, and now is the owner of a business with some 200 employees, of course Sang Qing would be angry. Jiangshan Masonry is the largest in all of Zhongyun. It has always been him bullying others, when did it become him being bullied? However, despite being pissed, Sang Qing still has the patience to ask for the cause, then, Sang Qing is dumbstruck. So they're not of the same trade. It's not that someone stole his curbstone business, it's just someone came up with some new technology that he hasn't heard of. This is a special kind of sculpting, and at a suicidal price. This is skill which allows the carving of detailed pictures onto curbstones. At the beginning Sang Qing still had some suspicion. Because in all of Zhongyun, who knows about stones more than him? These curbstones aren't some strategic resource, so they were placed out in the open at the city construction management office's yard. Hence, Sang Qing came with an unbelieving attitude when he went to take a look. The result, with just one look, Sang Qing is completely mind-blown. Stone carvings. Stone sculptures. Only today, did Sang Qing finally understand what real stone carvings are. Speaking the ugly truth, the stone carving Sang Qing's masonry is able to produce, in front of these peerless beauties, master-level artistry, and skillful strokes. His products aren't even equal to the bugs in pig's dung. This is a despairing, almost suffocating, disparity. The more a person understands a trade, the more he is able to understand the underlying values of these artworks, and the amount of astronomical money associated with it. Getting past the initial shock, what remains is an endless desire to possess this tech. If I have this type of tech, then it's not just Zhongyun, but all of Jiangnan province. By then, who can compete with me in terms of product quality? Lose little, game big. Earlier, Sang Qing wanted to suicide when he lost that super large deal, but now is stuck in ecstasy. With this high-tech machine in hand, what curbstone? What million yuan deals? Wouldn't all of the nearby cities and towns' curbstones and related material deals be mine? Those high-tech companies who are able to develop these age-defying types of technology, naturally have countless technology patents and unparalleled strength. Where is the need for these people to compete with us who sell stones for a living? They're merely releasing a new age engraving machine and are in need of something to prove its abilities. In the end, they're just advertising this new machine. Aren't all companies like this? As soon as a new product is released, the first thing they do is advertise the heck out of it. But Sang Qing has to admit, this product's advertisement is seriously resounding. Sang Qing, with just one look, immediately has the intense urge to possess one of these machines no matter the price. Quickly, must move quickly. When this batch of curbstones is shown to the public, then all the nearby masonries and people of the same trade, will rush over like a swarm of bees, waving sheets upon sheets of checks in their hands. Sell it to me. Sell it to me. I'll give a black check, you can fill in whatever number you want. When that time comes, would I have a chance? This type machine is just simply outrageous. It definitely can't be produced like bean sprouts, a batch every couple of days. In front of definite benefits, what is there for Sang Qing to care for? He immediately became like a sticky candy, unwaveringly stuck to Lu Fengjin. Lu Fengjin hinted in a call that he'll introduce this boss to him, but no matter what, won't tell Sang Qing which company released this new tech. Sang Qing immediately understand what Lu Fengjin wanted. This crafty geezer, he's merely hinting that the deal isn't over just yet. The other party is a mechanical tool manufacturing company. They have no way to produce their own curbstones, so in the end, everything still came back to the curbstones. As long as I fawn over him for a bit, then he'll definitely introduce that boss to me and the boss would buy curbstones from me. Sang Qing smiled coldly, you fking retard seriously don't know what is called high-tech stone engraving machine. Curbstones. What the FK is curbstones? My million yuan deal got jacked. That is an honor. That is also my opportunity. As long as I meet that boss, when the time comes, with some mucus, some tears, and beg him, saying that deal was originally mine, then make my company seem worse than it actually is, like how without this deal, and workers will have to starve and so on. Then the boss who controls this type of age-defining machine, will just need to wave their hand a little, have some pity for me and sell me a couple machines. Then wouldn't I flourish to the point wherewith there is still leftover work even with 100 workers? So where is the need for the curbstone deal? I'll just gift their company with 250,000 pieces of curbstones, to make up for the price of the machines. Luckily Lu Fengjin is an idiot who doesn't understand these things. Otherwise he will definitely kill me, and I can't even resist. For the purpose of this meeting, Sang Qing could be said to have paid tons of capital. Let's not mention the money used to invite over the models from top-tier clubs, merely for a wild sea grouper from Vietnam. Tian Ranju charged him over 8,000 yuan. Just at this moment, the waitress of the room learned from her earphone that a guest arrived downstairs looking for Mingyue Hall and is currently on the way up. Finally here. Sang Qing is trembling non-stop and excitingly stood up from his seat. Today he intentionally suited up. He ditched all those gold chains and wore some Buddhist pendants, which gave off a much more refined look. This is to give that boss a good impression. Chapter 18. Outside of Tian Ranju you are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. The girls also stood up. They've already been instructed on how to entertain the guest by Sang Qing. When the beautiful attendant opened the wooden doors to this private room, Sang Qing is there waiting for the esteemed guest. Yi Qing with his hands behind his back, appeared in front of them. This guest is so young. This is the girl's first thought. He looks so ordinary. The club girls tried to size up Yi Qing, but couldn't find any brand names on the clothes he's wearing at all. Then, just as Yi Qing entered, Sang Qing, who was beside the door and full of smiles, changed expressions just like a transformer. Shock, fear, puzzle, doubt. How can he not know of Yi Qing? A couple of days ago, he was so ruthless that he tore up that cutting machine contract, and refused to pay the remaining fees for the delivered machines. There were many reasons to rip up the contract. For one, he wanted to stand up for his workers. 2, he didn't want to accept the purchase, and he just didn't like Yi Qing at all. A youth with no power nor money. If he gets bullied, then so be it. Sang Qing could care less about this. It's just. Even if Sang Qing has 10 heads, he still wouldn't have thought that the boss of the high-tech company he is yearning to meet would be Yi Qing. That factory of his, doesn't it only make shoddy cutting machines? Shocked inside, Sang Qing, with a look similar to seeing a real-life ghost, immediately asked. Why is it you, and what you doing here? So, Mr. Sang, you guys know each other? Lu Fengjin had a look full of amazement, and introduced the two to each other. Well, this just got easier. Alright, you two come on over and have a drink. Mr. Sang, you can produce curbstones, and Mr. Yi here can process it. Now you guys can cooperate and mutually benefit. Isn't it just wonderful? What am I here for? Yi Qing, seeing Sang Qing's looks of having eaten shit, is just simply jolly inside. Weren't you the one who asked Director Lu to invite me over? I invited you. Sang Qing almost flipped the table. I invited the boss who can make high-tech machines. I invited you. You drunk. Asterisk cough cough asterisk. Lu Fengjin looked innocently at Sang Qing. This is the one who the chief personally accepted. So there shouldn't be anything wrong here. Right now Sang Qing is like a donkey who suddenly won the Oscars, completely dumbstruck. A couple of days ago, Yi Qing was still struggling to fix his machines. After the deal for the other 6 machines were cancelled, his looks were worse than losing $1,000,000. So then why can he, in just a couple of days, jack his $10,000,000 deal, and release such age-defying technology? Why? You really possess those high-tech carving machines. Sang Qing, after much effort, suppressed his shock and anger, just barely. Why do you care if I have it or not? Yi Qing cold-heartedly annihilated Sang Qing's dreams. Even if I do, with your attitude, you think I'll sell it to you? Of course. Sang Qing widened his eyes. Business is all about cooperation. I'm worried that you don't have the ability to digest the whole thing by yourself. Yes, everyone wants to make money. Lu Fengjin, seeing the atmosphere heading in the wrong direction, hurriedly gave the girls several looks. The 3 hot and sexy girls on the side, hurriedly got up and smilingly hugged the guy's elbows, saying, what is there that's more important than drinking? Come on over, mister, let us ladies accompany you for a few drinks. These clubhouse girls clearly know how to grab hold of a guy's attention. Using their personal advantages, had all the guys focus on them. The one beside Yi Qing, has a very pure face and charming smile. Under her care, Yi Qing sat down and she informed the waiting waitress to serve the dishes. With beautiful girls accompanying them, Yi Qing is invigorated. This is a feeling that he has never experienced before, and is able to make his heart beat like crazy. It's just with Sang Qing and Lu Fengjin in the room, Yi Qing has no appetite to do anything. Maybe it's because the shock was just too much. But as soon as Sang Qing sat down again, he immediately chugged a few shoots of baijiu. As the 2 ounces of baijiu went down, Sang Qing breathed out his alcohol breath towards the girl beside him. As for Lu Fengjin, he also raised his shot glass, but before he could drink, he noticed the atmosphere becoming increasingly sour. Director Lu, Mr. Sang. Let's stop playing games and get to the point. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qing stated. Right now, not only is Sang Ching's eyes red, but so is his face. A big business naturally means a high upkeep. For this deal, Sang Ching already invested too much. He already bought 8 large-scale excavators. If those just lie there, then that's a huge loss every day. As matters stands, regardless of whether or not Yi Qing possessed those high-tech carving skills, he must cough up some blood. I'll give you 37 apiece for the curbstones, and 20% extra for those carving machines, Sang Ching gave in his mind, unrefusable offer. I'm very sorry Mr. Sang, but I've already found a provider and signed a contract for the curbstones. Yi Qing regretfully sighed. As for the carving machines, don't even think about it. We're all businessmen, you can't be like this. Sang Ching's face immediately turned gloomy. Huh, Yi Qing mockingly laughed. Since we're already here, then Mr. Sang should know who's more thorough. So who was the one that ripped up the orders and had me sue him? Now you come begging. That's right, I specifically targeted your curbstone deal. Yi Qing stood up and removed the jade-like hands from his arm. Mr. Sang, go ahead, sue me, see if I'm scared. Yi Qing's choice is really difficult for those shady businessmen to understand. It's only money. Sang Ching is already offering 37 for each curbstone and large sums of money for the machines. So what's the anger from before for? Endure it and easily earn a couple $100,000. It's just, no matter what, Yi Qing can't swallow this anger. When the 6 machine order was ripped up, it let Yi Qing experience humiliation and powerlessness. If you need to swallow anger to earn some money, then he had already swallowed too much. To Yi Qing, this isn't about earning money anymore, it's more about finding back his pride. Although Sang Ching has connections and whether or not this problem will continue to grow like a snowball, then that's for a later time. That's when Hulk 1 and Hulk 2's fists do the talking. Sang Ching is almost pissed to death. Not only did his deal get jacked, but his original words were returned back to him unchanged. And he can't do anything about it. This kind of powerlessness let Sang Ching bath in his own anger. Who do you think you are? You really think you can bully me around with just a couple of high-tech machines? Sang Ching, from the bottom of his heart, will never look up to Yi Qing. With robust strength and his knowledge of the streets, Sang Ching never put Yi Qing, a youth with no power and no money, in his eye. Just you wait, when the time comes, you'll pay for your choices. Sang Ching spitted each word. Don't wait for later, come right now. Yi Qing courageously sat down again. I know you got connections on the streets and have a bunch of lunatics on call. I dare to jack your deal is because I already thought of the consequences. But I don't believe in promises, especially when they come from you. The room is suddenly filled with an eerie silence. The 3 club girls were like deer who heard gunshots and immediately ran away. They were paid to accompany them for drinks, not to watch these people fight. Their views on men is even more accurate than fortune tellers. This mister, who paid large sums to invite them over, is definitely a shady businessman. As for Yi Qing, he is an impulsive youth who was injected with chicken's blood. There isn't anyone else in the room right now. If they were to fight, then it definitely isn't as simple as drawing blood. Lu Fengjin's gaping mouth is even bigger than a hippo's. He, who has lived lavishly for the past few years, has never experienced this kind of intense situation. What is there for him to care about anymore? If he doesn't get beaten to a pulp then he would consider himself lucky. Oh! My stomach is hurting, I need to use the bathroom. Lu Fengjin didn't use the bathroom inbuilt in the room, but hurriedly ran out the door. Sang Ching also stood up, but the rough movement caused the delicate utensils and dishes to tumble onto the floor. This also scared away the rest of the waiters and waitresses in the room. His ferocious looks, the popping veins on his head. Dong, ding-dongaling ding-dongaling ding-dongaling, dong, ding-dongaling ding-dongaling ding-dongaling. A ringtone broke the eerie silence in the room. The phone in Yi Qing's pocket rang. "Let me answer the phone." Yi Qing stiffly pulled out the phone and saw an unfamiliar local number. Old iPhone 4, and it's an iPhone 4 with a broken screen. This nearly made the girls still in the room laugh their ass off. "Who is it?" Yi Qing asked as he tried to adjust his tone. The caller was silent for a bit before, a hoarse but gentle voice came through. "Is this Yi Qing? I'm Zhang Zhidong. If it wasn't because the current situation is too serious and too intense, Yi Qing would definitely take the time to have a nice chat with Zhang Zhidong." "Too bad, how did you get my number?" Yi Qing asked a rhetorical question. "I just got back to Zhongyan. If you have some time tonight, want to meet up with some of our middle school classmates?" Zhang Zhidong asked sincerely. "Sorry, I probably won't have time tonight." Although Yi Qing still remembered what happened back then, but after so many years have passed, it's about time to make up. "How about this, I'll host a gathering again with everyone tomorrow." "Wow, you still care about what happened back then?" Zhang Zhidong said bitterly. "Since then, you haven't spoken a word to me for 8 whole years. Tomorrow I'll pay, just you and me." "Tomorrow, got it. Right now isn't the time for chit-chat." After agreeing to the meeting, Yi Qing hung up the call. A couple male attendants, wearing work clothes, squeezed in. Their precarious looks danced between Yi Qing and Sang Qing. "Sirs, this is a civil establishment. If you're looking for a fight, then please go outside," the supervisor told them in a neither servile nor overbearing tone. "Just you wait." Sang Qing, having left behind his final words, squeezed out of the room without looking back. Sang Qing hurriedly went to the underground parking lot. A brand new black Audi E400L beeped as Sang Qing came near. Yi Qing, on the other hand, got into his commercial van. At the moment, the monster factory had finished upgrading, but he doesn't have the time to go over it as he recalled Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 back into their cards. Then with no hurry, followed the brand new black Audi out. Naturally Sang Qing recognized Yi Qing's van. With a gloomy expression, he pulled out his cell phone and made a call. The content of the call is very simple. He told the person on the other end to get over here quickly, there is some stuff that needs handling. Getting onto the light-covered Liangjiang Road, Sang Qing took at the rear-view mirror and saw that shabby commercial van behind him. "Since you're looking for fun, then I'll give it you." Sang Qing, with a breath full of alcohol, happily laughed. Di. Suddenly the van behind the Audi turned on its distant light, and charged forward. Sang Qing thought that he was gonna get overtaken, but just as he was about to let the Audi roar loose, the commercial van ruthlessly smashed into him from the side. Muffled thunder-like sounds ring through. This brand new Audi is a sedan of the E-series. Even before its protection film was removed, it was smashed by a worthless commercial van. The impact deformed the Audi's 2 left side doors, and shattered one of its reinforced glass windows. Sang Qing doesn't have the habit of wearing seat belts, but Audi has a great safety system, so the airbags of the driver's seat were popped out in a flash, leaving Sang Qing dazed, but uninjured. As for the pitiful van, not mentioning its busted bumpers, its engine cover is firmly caved in, and its lights were also shattered all over the place. "What the FK man, when did my Audi mess with you?" Suffering damage to the brand new Audi, Sang Qing is already on the verge of crying. Men generally view their car as important as their lover, let alone a $1 million mistress. Yi Qing shook his dizzying head, got off the car and walked in front of the Audi. Yi Qing didn't waste any time talking to him, instead, he pulled out his phone and punched into 3 numbers. "Hi, is this 110, I had an accident in front of Liangjiang Road's Tianranju. I'm just beside Tianranju's parking lot. I know the driver of the other car, it's the Jiangshan Masonry's boss. Oh right, I was just in Tianranju and saw him drink a ton of baijiu. At the time he was completely drunk and mumbling some random stuff. Please hurry over and take care of this mess. Chapter 19. Multi-Purpose Combat Vehicle. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Translated by me, edited by Kai. As soon as the operator heard that there was a DUI, they immediately picked up their pace and said that an officer will be on scene shortly. Intoxicated driving. Just now did Sang-Ching realize how much he drank while in the room. 2 shots already exceeded the legal DUI limits. If an accident occurs, no matter the reason, he must bear all of the responsibilities. If it was only paying for the damage, then that was still bearable. But ever since those DUI cases that shook the whole country a couple of years ago, DUIs became the minefield of traffic accidents. They even became the most cracked down targets for all government parties across the country. If someone is caught while driving under influence, then they'll have their license revoked, can't take the driver's exam within the next 5 years and are sent to detention centers for 15 days. This is the punishment only when caught on the road. If a traffic accident occurs, then the punishment will be even worse. Sang-Ching now finally realized why Yi-Ching rammed his treasured Audi. This is clearly setting him up to be sent away for 15 days. Sang-Ching is already flustered at the moment. He doesn't have time to bicker with Yi-Ching anymore. Calling people and pulling strings in this situation is clearly critical. When he was about to make the third call, a white Hyundai with police sirens on, came blazing in. Out of the car, out of the car. Have your travel permits and driver's license out. A young traffic officer came in front of the Audi. One hand holding a breathalyzer and hitting the hood with the other. Another officer first took a couple pictures of the scene, then approached Yi-Ching and asked if it was him who called the police. That's me. Yi-Ching cooperated with the officer by breathing into the breathalyzer and pulling out his permits and licenses. Then he sat back and enjoyed the show. Sure enough, Sang-Ching, who was still in the car making calls, pissed off the 2 young officers, as they came knocking on the car door. Get out of the car immediately. Sang-Ching, who is still full of the smell of alcohol, got out of the car gloomily and completely ignored the breathalyzer in the officer's hands. One of the officers straight up spoke into his intercom. Dispatch, dispatch, call for a tow truck on Yangjiang Road. The other officer happily smiled. This smile is clearly intended for Sang-Ching, who is still making calls. Even if you call the chief, it's still of no use. Right now is Zhongyin's 3-month inspection period. Driving while intoxicated or under the influence are all important targets. It doesn't matter if you don't breathe into the breathalyzer, we'll still have to check your blood alcohol content when we get back to the station anyways. So what about you, sir? The officer asked Yi-Ching again. The intoxicated driver will take all of the responsibility. So do you want to have a tow truck pull your car away, or do you want to fix it yourself and have him pay for everything? I'll fix it myself. Yi-Ching happily signed the papers procured by the officers. Now that he has money to spare, he doesn't care about this much maintenance cost. Mr. Sang, happy detention days. Yi-Ching happily waved Sang-Ching off. You've got guts, boy. Sang-Ching said with fixed eyes on Yi-Ching. With Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 in tow, Yi-Ching ignored all threats and immediately got into the car and left. When he got back to the park with the van, Yi-Ching drove it to a nearby garage. They're all familiar with each other, so everything was settled for 1,000 yuan and the car will be ready by in 2 days' time. During this whole trip to Tianranju, unexpectedly, Yi-Ching didn't even get the chance to drink even a drop of water. Right now Yi-Ching is seriously hungry. Hence he went to a nearby, very popular, Ayun snack shop. Yi-Ching asked for a vermicelli casserole and had the lady boss cut him half a kilo of stewed beef. This Ayun snack shop specifically targets migrant workers. Their vermicelli casserole and stewed beef are truly praiseworthy. Normally Yi-Ching is really stringent on how much beef he eats. Now with this much beef, he is really up for a celebratory meal. Beside Yi-Ching's table, are 2 other workers wearing Gangjia Chemicals, logo cloth. They had ordered a full plate of beef and are there gorging on it to their heart's content. A mouthful of beef, followed by a swig of sorghum liquor. The two sat there eating while chit-chatting. They spoke about how the factory got a 50 million chemical material order from Germany's BASF Corporation, and that these materials will be going through reactor synthesis tomorrow. Gangjia Chemicals incorporates much of the west side of the park. The two workers are clearly close to the directors, so they're just there until they retire. Hearing them talk bullshit is actually very boring. So Yi Qing pulled out the phone with the Monster Factory app and started to examine what Level 2 provided. The system completed upgrading a long time ago. In the futuristic mechanical factory view, apart from Yi Qing's originally factory, a new mechanical research facility appeared. Mechanical Research Facility. Used to research all kinds of products and metal manufacturing processes. Because this is a building exclusive to Level 2, there is a free opportunity to draw from the blueprint lottery. And the second type of hireable worker. Expert artisans. The amount of tool available in the shopping center also increased. From now on, all common quality tools and a small portion of uncommon tools are available for purchase. At the same time, a system notification popped up. Congratulations for taking the first step towards being a legend. As a reward for doing so, you have been gifted a multi-purpose combat vehicle as your personal ride. Multi-purpose combat vehicle. Upon seeing this, Yi Qing's eyes almost popped out. This name is just too eye-catchy. During Level 1, not mentioning the 2 peons the system gave away, just the result of the lottery, Rapid Metal Engraver, is mind-blowing enough. Now Level 2, the system gives away a ride. Then wouldn't it be so flashy that it shocks the whole world? This much benefits came too sudden, Yi Qing wasn't prepared at all. During the afternoon at Tianranju, first is the show-off in his Jaguar, then it's Sang Qing's brand new Audi. If it wasn't because he didn't have any other transportation vehicle, why the heck would Yi Qing still drive that commercial van full of advertisements around? Well, at least now the system gave away a multi-purpose combat vehicle. Yi Qing tried to cover his laughter, but even when the boss's daughter brought over his beef and casserole, he still didn't even sense it. Yi Qing immediately put away the cell phone, then using the provided sesame paste, he dunked those super delicious beef slices and shoved them in his mouth. Ah! Having eaten 3 slices of stew beef in a roll, its intense flavors finally exploded, making Yi Qing call out how delicious it is. The vermicelli casserole is also delicious. The clear broth is flavorful beyond belief. Add on some seasonal veg, regardless of its nutrition, and it's simply unforgettable. Of course, this food is for the working class. No matter how good the stewed beef is, there are always people who can't afford it. Stewed beef plus vermicelli. Just as Yi Qing was about finished, he suddenly sensed that the originally chatty shop seemed like it got hit by Medusa's AoE petrifying gaze. Dead silence. As soon as he raised his head, Yi Qing was also dumbstruck. A girl wearing a sky blue cashmere sweater and a pair of speckless dark blue Converses entered the shop. On top of the sky blue sweater is a stretch of graceful pure neck that is able to make anyone gulp. In front of her watery eyes is her silky loose hair. Even with one look, people can close their eyes and perfectly draw out her beautifully wonderful complexion. In this girl's white jade-like hands is a cell phone with a super cute cartoon mic connected to it. Yi Qing quickly stole a glance at the other tables. These bunch of old geezers were all still trying to swallow their saliva, which let him relax inside somewhat. Every table is taken, but without question, the cleanest table in the store is the one Yi Qing currently sitting at. As expected, this slender and elegant girl gave Yi Qing a wonderful smile and headed over. Hello everybody, welcome to Brawl on the Tip of the Tongue. Tonight, Daodu brings everyone to one of Zhongyin's hidden jewels, Ayun Snack Shop's vermicelli casserole and stewed beef. Aha! Brawl on the Tip of the Tongue. Yi Qing is somewhat mind-blown. No wonder this beauty won't let go of her cell phone, so she's actually a streamer. Chapter 20. This vehicle is seriously overpowered. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Geppetro. What a wonderful speech. Yi Qing has spent some time watching streams before, so he is somewhat familiar with some of them. It's just, he never would have thought that he would meet such a beautiful streamer. The geezers were all confused, not knowing what this girl was doing. This Daodu girl stylishly sat down in front of Yi Qing, and sweetly asked the boss for a casserole and some stewed beef. While waiting, Daodu became a journalist and pulled out a mini microphone from her pocket. She sweetly smiled towards Yi Qing and introduced herself. Hi there, I'm the host of the live stream Brawl on the Tip of the Tongue, and right now we're on a stream talking about many of Zhongyan's street foods. Can I interview you for a bit? Of course. Of course. Yi Qing is vexed by this girl to the point of unable to take his eyes away. I have an account for Brawl, I'll subscribe to you later. Thank you. Daodu smiling adjusted the position of her cell phone and asked. Do you work in the industrial park? Do you come here to eat often? As soon as Yi Qing saw the screen, his eyes almost exploded. Why? 'Cause Twitch chat, the whole screen is in utter chaos, and there is even a banner with red words quickly moving. However, when Yi Qing saw what was displayed in the red words, he almost flipped the table. Where did this moron come from? Move over, let me in. Since when did laborers become this tech-savvy? They even have an Brawl account. You there, you're blocking Daodu's picture. Yi Qing coughed a couple times to correct his expression. Oh, I'm the boss of a nearby factory. Yi Qing glanced at the viewer counter, more than 300,000, and smiled. I don't usually come to this shop, but when I do, I eat vermicelli and beef. My workers also say that this store's food is simply wonderful. Before Yi Qing even finished, the banner exploded with red words. What an act, 100 points. Look, an unexpected roadside president. And so on. Oh, so you're a big boss around here, sorry. Daodu's smile is simply vexing. Mister, when you get back you definitely need to tell your workers to subscribe to me. You'll be able to see all kinds of Zhongyan specialties. No problem, I'll tell them to subscribe tomorrow. Yi Qing turned red as he was saying this. However, no one found out about it under the surrounding poor lighting conditions. He sure is a boss, but he has no workers under him. Just a bunch of monsters. Oh right, mister, do you know where I can find some good eats in Zhongyan? For example, some special restaurants and such. Tianranju has some pretty amazing seafood. Ah, Tianranju. I heard it's super expensive there. Daodu turned the mic and phone to face her. My dear viewers, let us go kill some boss at Tianranju next time. Make him pay. Daodu give him a chance to act big. Seeing the viewer jeering, Daodu can only act as if she didn't see it. If she got an invitation to have dinner from this boss, then this bunch of viewer will go into a frenzy and donations will come flying in. Sadly, Daodu won't do this type of things, since it will make her hate herself. At this moment, the boss of the shop personally delivered Daodu's casserole and stewed beef. He's so excited that he even waived Daodu's bill. How can he not be excited? His daughter told him that this girl in front of him is here to advertise the shop to an audience of several tens of thousands. As soon as the food arrived, Daodu naturally shifted her attention to it and gave Yi Qing an embarrassing smile. Yi Qing is pretty much finished anyways. To continue to stay is simply unnecessary. With a call out, Yi Qing reluctantly left. However, the stream exploded, insisting that Daodu follow him to see what this boss is driving and if he was really pretending. A bike with a panoramic skylight. It's definitely Emma's new multiple speed, back-wheel powered, electric scooter. Alright, I'll tail him. Dowda seriously can't stand this audience, so she only stealthily stick her head out for a look. In the end that boss is slowly walking on the street. Under the dusky lights, his shadow continues to grow longer. Fortunately Yi Qing's commercial van is with the garage. Otherwise if this bunch of people saw it, then that sight would definitely be a good laugh. While on the road, Yi Qing is consistently reminded of the previous scene, and Dowdu smiles. The club models from the time at Tianranju also flashed in his mind. It's not that Yi Qing suddenly had a crush on them, it's just that Yi Qing has been single for too long, and in recently years, has always stayed in the factory, just like those old geezers. Anxious. He is in his golden age for romance. This is the time when his body is full of hormones. But he doesn't even have a girlfriend. How can he not be anxious? As he was thinking, Yi Qing picked up his pace. He needs to get back to the factory quickly so that he can summon the gifted Marcivi. With a luxury car in hand, there is going to be no shortage of girls. After 10 minutes or so, Yi Qing got back to the factory and locked the doors. Pulling out the cell phone, he even begged Buddha to guarantee that the car is more flashy than a Ferrari. Arise, my MRCV. Yi Qing yelled as he firmly pressed open the gift. A hazy mist appeared in front of him. When the mist dissipated and was about to show what was hidden, Yi Qing almost fell onto the floor. A casing radiating electric red, tracks full of mechanical aesthetics, a small propeller in the back with two robotic-like arms. He is seriously about to collapse. What multi-purpose combat vehicle, it's even smaller than a kid's excavator toy. If this seriously is a ride then it's definitely going to get benched. Level 1 multi-purpose combat vehicle, quality. Currently uncommon/can level. This is a combat vehicle designed specifically for you. With it, you can sweep away all competition in the industrial sector. 100% guarantee. It has an amazing remodeling ability. As long as you have the gold, then you're able to modify it. When your factory levels up, as your personal ride, it will also increase in quality and size. It'll let you experience the wonders of the world's top-tier mechanics, possessing a waterproof casing and underwater propulsion system. No matter the environment, even if it's underwater, it'll still be able to operate as if on land. Magnetic tank tracks are able to absorb all metals. Automated welding arm. Underwater welding capability plus 20% underwater welding precision plus 5% automated tool arms. Able to change. Able to perform extremely difficult movements. Seeing this, Yi Qing's mood turned for the better. In spite of everything, this vehicle is even able to perform underwater welding tasks. You have to understand that underwater welding is the hardest welding task to perform. But due to many limiting restrictions and the need for it in all sectors, all large manufacturing companies put importance in the investment of underwater welding technologies and techniques. Even now, there are still many lacking areas in underwater welding. The majority of the time, everybody has to rely on divers carrying the gear personally and performing it underwater. The existence of water makes the welding job extremely difficult. The most prominent problem among them is how to guide the arc. On land, guiding the arc is simple. All that needs to be done is place the tip of the welder near where welding is required, then with a light tap of the welding gun, the arc is guided on the welding seam and combines the multiple edges. However, in water, electricity is dispersed. Wanting to ignite the arc is harder than making an elementary kid become a superhero. As for the MRCV, the introduction says it can weld automatically to one's content. With just this point alone, Yi Qing is able to accept underwater welding jobs until his hand hurt from counting the money. Seeing how advanced it is, Yi Qing is able to forgive it a little. When it has leveled up later and becomes larger, he can definitely take it out for spins.